playing bone flutes, percussive instruments, and jaw harps, and all known societies throughout the world have had music. Indeed, our appreciation appears to be innate. Infants as young as 2 months will turn toward consonant or pleasant sounds and away from dissonant ones. And the same kinds of pleasure centers light up in a person's brain whether he or she is getting chills listening to a symphony's denouement, or eating chocolate, or having sex, or taking cocaine. Therein lies an intriguing biological mystery. Why is music, universally beloved and uniquely powerful in its ability to ring emotions, so pervasive and important to us? Could its emergence have enhanced human survival somehow, such as by aiding courtship, as Jeffrey F. Miller of the University of New Mexico has proposed? Or as suggested by Robin I. M. Dunbar of the University of Oxford in England? Did it originally help us by promoting social cohesion in groups that had grown too large for grooming? On the other hand, to use the words of Harvard University's Steven Pinker, is music just auditory cheesecake? A happy accident of evolution that happens to tickle the brain's fancy? Neuroscientists don't yet have the ultimate answers, but in recent years we have begun to gain a firmer understanding of where and how music is processed in the brain, which should lay a foundation for answering evolutionary questions. Collectively, studies of patients with brain injuries and imaging of healthy individuals have unexpectedly uncovered no specialized brain center for music. Rather, music engages many areas distributed throughout the brain, including those that are usually involved in other kinds of cognition. The active areas vary with the person's individual experiences and musical training. The ear has the fewest sensory cells of any sensory organ. 3,500 inner hair cells occupy the ear versus 100 million photoreceptors in the eye. Yet our mental response to music is remarkably adaptable. Even a little study can retune the way the brain handles musical inputs. Singing in the brain. See the accompanying illustration in the bonus materials. Inner songs. Until the advent of modern imaging techniques, scientists gleaned insights about the brain's inner musical workings mainly by studying patients, including famous composers who had experienced brain deficits as a result of injury, stroke, or other ailments. For example, in 1933, French composer Maurice Ravel began to exhibit symptoms of what might have been focal cerebral degeneration, a disorder in which discrete areas of brain tissue atrophy. His conceptual abilities remained intact. He could still hear and remember his old compositions and play scales, but he could not write music. Speaking of his proposed opera, Jeanne d'Arc, Ravel confided to a friend, "This opera is here, in my head. I hear it, but I will never write it. It's over. I can no longer write my music." Ravel died 4 years later, following an unsuccessful neurosurgical procedure. The case lent credence to the idea that the brain might not have a specific center for music. The experience of another composer additionally suggested that music and speech were processed independently. After suffering a stroke in 1953, Vissarion Shebelin, a Russian composer, could no longer talk or understand speech. Yet he retained the ability to write music until his death 10 years later. Thus, the supposition of independent processing appears to be true, although more recent work has yielded a more nuanced understanding, relating to 2 of the features that music and language share. Both are a means of communication, and each has a syntax, a set of rules that govern the proper combination of elements, notes, and words, respectively. According to Anirudh D. Patel of Tufts University, imaging findings suggest that a region in the frontal lobe enables proper construction of the syntax of both music and language, whereas other parts of the brain handle related aspects of language and music processing. Imaging studies have also given us a fairly fine-grained picture of the brain's responses to music. These results make the most sense when placed in the context of how the ear conveys sounds in general to the brain.